Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Blazer Victory Podcast. John Duncan here, and I'm joined as always with my co-host Darian Smith. And guys, it is the bye week for UAB football as they take a breather this week and get ready next week for the Rice Owls. But Darian and I have a special bye week episode for you guys, and it's a Q&A show. And we are overwhelmed with the responses that we got from you guys. In total, it looks like we got about 20 or so questions. And we just want to thank you guys so much for just taking the time, whether it was on Facebook, Twitter, direct message, wherever you reached out to us and asked these questions. We're just so grateful for, you guys, showing feedback with us and giving us these questions and trusting us to answer them. Darian, did I miss anything? I mean, this is great that we got this feedback.
This is awesome. Of course, we're happy that a lot of people are tuning into the show and they're, interacting with us and, feel almost as if we're talking to them. But also, it's just that people are seeking out this information on the Blazers. Like we just love the team, just like y'all do. So that means that everybody is looking for more information. They want more engagement with the team, and that's all. Anything we can do to help the team and help spread the message is awesome, and you guys are helping us do that. So, man, we are forever grateful.
Definitely. Well, before we get started with these Q&A, with the Q&A segment, Darian, I just wanted to mention a couple things. Shout out to Dwayne McBride and Noah Wilder, both getting Conference USA Player of the Week honors from Conference USA. Was not shocked at all. Both well deserving of those honors. Both had career days both had a career day against Georgia Southern this past Saturday, so it was great to see both of those guys get honored. And also, Darren, did we miss anything on the instant reaction show for Georgia Southern that you wanted to bring up?
Yeah, I know we got a lot of questions. I just, when you go back and rewatch it with fresh eyes, you get another perspective. But I do love the instant reaction because we're full of adrenaline and whatever else. But the biggest thing I came out with, and I'm keeping this short, is just like we just need to learn killer instinct.
Yes. Put them away.
Man, there was so many moments I looked at that game and I forgot we was up 21-0 and it was 4th and 5 and Tyler Taylor had the running back dead to rights, and he broke free of that tackle. And then D-Mac had him also. He broke free of that one to get the first down, and that's when they end up scoring 21, making this 21-7. On that, I counted that. I'm like, man, if we just get them on the ground there, we get the ball at midfield, going into halftime, we can score, go up 28-0. That game is dead.
Yeah.
It was so many times that we just breathed life into them, and you can't. They're a solid team. We were better, but they're a solid team, and I just want to see us not give those. We have to take that next step, to crush teams.
I agree, 100%. Just gave them too many chances.
We gave them too many chances, and they converted on 4th and 1. It was missing field goals, and we just gave them chances. Like, hey, please get in the game. Please come in the game. I saw a holding call where Lee Witherspoon actually would have broke for a touchdown.
Yeah, was that the one that Terrell McDonald got called on? That was kind of an iffy hold.
It wasn't holding.
Yeah, that was iffy. I don't know why they called that. Now, he had another one later in the game that was definitely a hold, but that one, I was like, Even the announcer was like,
Yeah, the announcer circled the wrong person when looking back at it. It wasn't holding. It was supposed to be a touchdown, but it evened out because we got a PI call that was favorable for us. So, but just that. Just going back to that, like, we got to just put teams away, and we had a couple of times to put this team away, and we let them back in it. And, just go back to the Liberty game, how we kept on giving them chances. So that's the next step I want to see. That's all.
Definitely. And one thing that I wanted to add is that I forgot how important that 4th and goal situation was at the beginning of the game to score UAB's first touchdown. Like, that was kind of gutsy for Vincent to go for it, and I was glad he was. I mean, I'm glad he. We both were at the game. We were saying, yeah, you definitely got to go for it here. But yeah, kudos to Vincent on calling that. Number one, going for it and just put it in your best ball player's hands and giving it to Debo and letting them get in the end zone. So definitely wanted to bring that up today because I don't think we touched on that
Right.
a lot on the instant reaction. But if you guys haven't listened to our Georgia Southern recap, definitely go back and listen to that. You've got all week after you listen to this, so definitely go back and give our Georgia Southern instant reaction recap episode a listen. All right, Darren, you ready to get into some Q&A?
Yeah, let's rock and roll, brother.
All right. So the first question came from Jeffrey Blazer on Twitter. And his question, is it unreasonable to expect 11 pass breakups and 3 picks a game when it's not the same quarterback? And no need to mention his name. So, Darian, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, because every game is going to take on a life of its own, and we're going to face different type of teams, and it's going to be a different game plan. So whatever that game plan is, the reason why we were able to get so many breakups after the rewatch, we had 3 down linemen, and I saw how they were able to stop the run game when we had those 3 down linemen, and the reason Noah Wilder and Tyler Taylor were able to roam free is because those 3 took up 2 each. They swallowed 2 men each on the offensive line, freeing up the linebackers to roam. And our guys on the D line, oh my God, they did a great job at swallowing those guys up and allowing our linebackers to run free. And so now with the 3 down linemen there, now we have so many more guys in the backfield. So we was just played a soft zone, and we were able to stop their run game with just three guys up front in linebackers. So now on pass plays, everybody's, we got our linebackers flown back into space, and we were able to play off. We limited. I don't think it was any big passing plays because of the game plan by Coach Reeves. So yeah, I think that's unreasonable. But we have a really, really good defensive backfield. I think this is the best UAB ever had in the defensive backfield. And Starlin Thomas, man, and Keandre Swopes played him. Like you look back at the film.
I'm telling you, dude, that was one thing I should have mentioned. I didn't realize how many times they targeted Swoops. Like they were throwing at his side like almost every time, and every time he was there he was right in position, and he broke a couple balls up. Like Swoops played well Saturday.
Yeah, he played an awesome game. So yeah, while that is unreasonable, my point is it's not correlated to how good we are on the backfield. It's more so that every game has a life of its own, a defensive game plan of its own. So it might be a next game where we get 7 sacks because the game plan is pressure and blitz. And, so it might be a lot of incompletions because it's erratic balls. And, so that's not going to, I don't think that's going to repeat, but it could.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think asking 11 pass breakups and 3 picks a game it's stretching a little bit, but I mean, you hit on this in our preview and in the recap, Darian. I mean, that Van Treese, the quarterback for Georgia Southern, I mean, he had that gunslinger mentality. You look at who UAB is going to face next week with the Rice quarterback, and honestly, watching a little bit of that Louisiana film, he seems to kind of have that gunslinger approach too, for him. So, I mean, hey, if UAB can play that style defense again and maybe not get 3 picks, but at least get 1 or maybe 2, get a few pass breakups, I mean, that's a win in UAB's book. So definitely look forward to seeing just what this defense does going forward, but definitely a great game for the secondary against Georgia Southern for sure.
Right. This is not the defensive backfield to have a gunslinger mentality on.
No, yeah, but we love them. We love them to have that.
Bring it on, baby.
All right, next question comes from Blay on Twitter. Do you think there's a chance Zeno will take over at quarterback? Hopkins has been great for us, but a lot of overthrown balls. Saturday has me curious. Darian?
Looking back at the game, this one is tricky.
Because like your gut, or at least with me, my gut was like, no. I mean, Hopkins is doing pretty good, but I mean, I don't know, man.
On the rewatch, you kind of see it is a lack of. He has good zip coming out of his hands. He has very good arm strength. He has good accuracy.
Just seems
And
off. Yeah.
his touch isn't there right now. He's not giving enough room for letting the receivers run under it. And the offense left a lot to be desired at that game. I came away disappointed. Yes, we have Debo, we know that, but those, we just needed a little touch, a little bit here and there. But on the flip side, he has not threw one interception. And besides the one, I don't remember him throwing a stupid pass in Liberty. So besides the one that A&M when it should have been intercepted, he hasn't put us in bad positions. Doing that. So people got to remember that's the other side of quarterbacking. It's taking care and managing the offense, and he's done a phenomenal job at that. It's just that converting those big plays that's been there, his touch has not been there. So I can understand the frustration, but we have to look at the bigger picture too.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you look at those, especially that one or two that he had to Palmer that were so close on those bombs they threw against Georgia Southern. I mean, so close. I think one they ended up getting a PI call, but the other one just barely missed. Yeah, but see, from my end, like if Hopkins doesn't improve and say like he has another so-so game at Rice, I mean, at that point, why not just start Zeno and just see if you can get something else? But as of right now, when we're recording this September the 20th, you have to keep Hopkins in there. And like what Darian just said, unless he starts just making mistakes, like bad decisions, then we'll get Zeno in. And I was kind of curious, though. Zeno only played one series in that game against Georgia Southern. So I wonder why they didn't roll him out there again. Kind of curious.
He didn't do nothing but hand the ball off that series, too. I mean, the run game was working that series. I mean, you can't not say Vincent was wrong for doing that. We could score on that drive. But, it'd be nice to see, like, okay, what does Zeno have? Will he make errant throws? Dylan Hopkins isn't making errant throws. And, he's been solid. He's just not making the throws, like, just the game breaking that'll really take this offense to take the team to the next step. Because we're missing that on offense. We are. And we gotta have that to take that next step. And we'll be a complete team if we have it. I'm telling you, just looking at that film, we should have beat Georgia Southern by at least 28. At least 28. You know. So we'll see though.
For sure. All right, next question comes from Facebook. Karen Everett asks, since the return, overall we have a great record at home, but we seem to struggle on the road. How do we fix that? I mean, first off, it's hard to win on the road. I don't care where you're playing. It's road. It's not your home environment. You have travel and yada, yada. But I don't know, man. It's that Liberty game this year is just so hard to pinpoint, like with the weather and everything. I really think you're going to see, you got a huge test in Houston against Rice next Saturday. So not only with it being a road game, but it's also the Conference USA opener. I think let's wait and see what happens next Saturday at Houston before we kind of ride this team off. But I mean, do you have any thoughts about, like, when Karen's asking, like, I mean, we do struggle on the road, but how do you fix that?
I don't know. I don't know if that's, totally accurate, because the overall record may say that since the return. But if you take a look at last year, we bombed against Liberty here. We bombed against Rice here.
Yeah.
We should have won that UTSA game on the road.
Good point.
We won some good games on the road, last year. So, and just coming in, I know we should have won that Liberty game on the road. We fumbled it away. But
and then you could throw the Power Five, like you throw the Georgia game off, like
Miami, certain games like that we just wasn't ready for. But I think now it's just, I used to love playing on the road. I know the narrative is like, oh, you play at home and stuff. Yeah, I like playing at home, but I love playing on the road, man, because I just like arguing with fans and telling them to shit up like I used to love. Yeah, I think it's a complete story. Overall record is say different because of different circumstances.
Right. Yeah, I agree. All right. Next question comes from my dad, Richard Duncan, on Facebook. So
Richard.
yes, shout out. He says, "Is the athletic department given any indication on how the coaching search will be handled, and who will be involved in the search?"
Mm,
So I can answer that. So obviously, Mark Ingram's going to handle the search. I mean, he's going to handle it just like he did the search that he ended up hiring Andy Kennedy.
mhm.
So I do want to point out that I do obviously still think Vincent is in a great position to get that interim label removed and become the permanent head coach. However, I think he is pretty much going to have to not win out, but throw the LSU game off the table. He's probably going to have to get to that Conference USA championship, I think, to be able to take that interim label off. And fair or unfair, that's just my opinion. But in regards in hiring a search firm, I don't know that. I'll have to do a little more research on that. But I do know that Mark Ingram will have his hands all over this hire. Darren, you have any thoughts?
I guess theory would be, there's going to be a lot of guys available. It seems like there's going
Yes.
to be a lot of guys available, but
Very
I do
popular
think it's going
job.
to
Yeah.
be Coach BB's to lose.
Yes.
So I think this season will tell a lot, and we'll see how the offense unfolds. I think it's going to rest a lot on the offense because we're putting a lot on our defense, and they answer it every time.
I agree.
But I think a lot is going to rest on the offense and the adjustments Coach BB is going to be able to make. And ultimately, can we win that? Can we get to that conference championship? How do we look against UTSA? How do we look against Western Kentucky? And we want to win it all. And I want to see Coach BB be the guy. He's been here. I love the staff here. I
Me
love the
too.
staff here. We got some great coaches that really, really love this team.
Yes.
And I don't want another coaching staff to come in, honestly, with people that aren't connected to the city like this coaching staff is. But I know it's a business, and I understand if I trust the AD, and it's going to be a lot of guys available, so we'll see.
Yeah, but I agree. I'm a BV fan. I definitely want him to be able to become the permanent job as well.
Right.
Uh, all right. All right. Andrew Vines on Twitter. As good as the running game is, we can't be this one dimensional long term and continue having success.
Mm.
What do we need to do to find more balance?
Ooh, this was a good one, Andrew. I like this.
Me
What you
too. And
think, man?
I saw someone was a smart aleck and responded, "We'll throw the ball." to his question. I just laughed out loud when I saw that. No, but hey, Andrew, it's a great question. Me and Darian, we talk about this all the time. I mean, obviously, you just have to be more balanced on
Mm.
offense. Like you've got to not only throw the ball, but you've got to just mix it up. You can't be so predictable and running every single time on first down. And I thought, this is something we talked about on the recap show of the Georgia Southern game, that I thought the play calling was improved in the Georgia Southern game. I thought they, took shots on first down. They kind of mixed it up. Now, granted, Debo was running all over him. So in that game, you really could just hand it to him every time. But I thought there was progress in the play calling Saturday against Georgia Southern, but they did mix it up. But going forward, when you face better defenses, you're going to have to mix it up. And I mean, obviously, the answer is he's going to have, whether it's Hopkins or Zeno, they're going to have to throw the ball. But with that, you're going to need to get Hopkins involved more early on in the game and get him comfortable. It's not just, taking these downfield long shots. It could be something as wide receiver screen, slant. Just do something simple
Right.
to build up his confidence, and then you can take the shot downfield. So I do think play calling has some room to grow, and I just look for it to be more balanced. Darian, what's your thoughts?
Right, I totally agree with everything you said, and I think adjustments is key to that too. I realized like during the Rice game, like the play calling was good and balanced, but it's certain things like Rice, I mean, not Rice, Georgia Southern were they were doing a good job of staying at home on the naked bootlegs that we were doing.
Yeah.
Every time, soon as Dylan turned around, he had a guy in his face, and I believe Coach BB was trying to call that play, so we can get Dylan in a rhythm, get them comfortable, keep them honest, but it's different play actions, I believe, that we could call if we see that, hey, oh, they're staying at home, they're anticipated. They were opportunistic defense, so they'll give up whatever just to wait on that moment to get us behind the chains or get us the 2nd and 10. And so just adjustments. I think, coming out of halftime, I feel like third quarters haven't really been good to us, completely. Well, even though this third quarter was missed opportunities, I say the passing game, this Georgia Southern game, was more so on the quarterbacks and receivers, like more so the quarterback, because those plays were there. We had a couple of deep runs to Palmer. We had a deep one to Samario Rudolph. We had a couple of shots there that could have been touchdowns or at least 50-yard gainers. Should have been. And they weren't completed. And I feel like, we kind of had that some in the Liberty game too. And we got to hit those shots, man, to not only, have confidence from the play callers to call the shot for you, but to open it up for the running back. And so they can't tee off on us. So I look for improvement in quarterback play, and I look for it's just more touch on the ball. And I think Coach BB will be more inclined to call passing plays more. But I agree, when we need to get it early, like, just some quick hitters in the beginning of the game, and some adjustments at halftime. I think we've been losing that battle. So it seemed like teams had, they've caught on to the first half game plan, and we struggle sometimes. So I think that'll be the answer.
Right. Well, the next question comes from Connor Gentry on Twitter. So how do you feel about this team now, 3 games in? What has surprised you the most, good or bad so far? And how do you feel the rest of the season will go now, seeing how we are playing? So, Darren, you want to take it? Or
what has surprised? How do I feel about the team? I feel really good about this team. I think we have a real deal defense.
Yes.
First of all, our defense is lights out. We got athletes all over I love the unspoken MVP of the team, maybe Coach Reeves. His defensive game plans for these 3 games have been phenomenal. The way that they contained Salter and Liberty, and the way that the soft zone how it affected Van Treese and he couldn't read it, and how they planned on stopping the run game with those 3 down linemen and letting the linebackers roam free. Man, that was great. I was like, wow, that was really good. So, and I feel like our offense has so much left on the table. Like, we see what they could be.
Right. And that's what I was gonna say. Like, what's surprising is just the quarterback and wide receiver connection. I'm just surprised that it hasn't clicked yet. Now, granted, Shropshire missed last game against Georgia Southern because he violated team rules. We are not even going to discuss that situation at all. But yeah, that's just what's surprising. It's just, going from the BYU bowl game into this year and just seeing how they were in fall camp and then in practice. Like, I don't know why it hasn't clicked yet. And that's not saying that it's not going to click. Like, it will click at some point, whether it's Hopkins or Zeno. Both of those guys are 2 talented quarterbacks, and they'll get the ball out to somebody. And Brian Davis caught a heck of a ball. It was a 36-yard reception against Georgia Southern. Boykins has shown that he's good. We already know Rudolph is good. We have playmakers. We just haven't clicked yet. So that would be, kind of the bad I'm kind of surprised about. But how do you feel about the rest of the season? Connor, let me see what happens in Houston next week. Listen, I want to see the conference opener on the road and see how we handle that environment, because honestly, I'm still frustrated about the Liberty loss and the 4 turnovers on the road. I get it was wet and bad weather, rainy, whatever, but yeah, I got to see another game on the road before I want to give you a definite how I feel. But Darian and I both have said plenty of times, this is probably one of the most talented teams UAB has ever had in the football program's history. So the talent is there. It's just, will everything start clicking?
Yeah, I definitely feel good about the rest. I feel good because I feel like our defense certified themselves. Like, it isn't fake. It's real. We did it to Liberty. We did it to Georgia Southern. So I'm convinced about that, and I'm hopeful for the offense because we've seen what Dylan can do in the past, and we've seen Coach BV go from that. We've seen his play calling improve from Liberty to Georgia Southern. I really felt like it did. We know what our offensive line is. We know how physical they are. We know what our running backs are. So I'm hopeful. I'm like, man, I think I'm just waiting for them to put it all together. We saw them take shots this last game, and it was just off, and they got some PIs, but I think it was enough to keep Georgia Southern honest, So I'm really hopeful now. I feel good about this team. If we take that next step, I see us winning conference if the offense takes the next step.
Next question comes on Facebook from Dana Lackey. This might be a quick one. My question is regarding Georgia Southern's quarterback number 6 and his impressive streak of avoiding quarterback sacks. Derek Scudder announced, that's the PA announcer, a quarterback sack in the fourth quarter, but it doesn't seem to have actually registered as one since he gained 1 yard. Is that correct? Yes, that is correct. Since he actually gained a yard on the line and he wasn't tackled behind the line of scrimmage, it does not go as a sack. It actually goes as a quarterback rush since he got a positive yard. Is that correct, Darren?
Yeah, that is correct. That's like a 1 yard rush, and they do a lot of quick pass, and we went over that in the preview. They get the ball out quick, and we didn't pressure him. We didn't send any pressure, and we were still able to get pressure on some plays. So, kudos to them, and they have a good pass protecting offensive line. I like that offensive line. They're a good cohesive team.
Definitely.
So.
Definitely. Well, next question is also on Facebook from Carter Sanderson. So he says, Joe Webb's hype videos are fantastic and make me want to run through a brick wall. Ooh, buddy, me too. What former player would y'all most like to see join him or do their own hype video? Well, I think the only answer is Darian Smith, right?
Oh, yeah, of course. But you know who I wish, because I remember one instance, is Matt McCants, who
yes.
he's the offensive line. He works with the offensive line now. We played together. I remember my boy Matt, he did this. You know what? Maybe that's just something I'm gonna keep because it's sacred. He know what I'm talking about. Before we played Southern Miss, he was able to make this get with the some of the video guys, and he made this hype video before, and it really got the team going the day before. Like it was awesome. So like Matt is very I don't know if people remember, but when he played, he did some acting. He did some he did some theater over at UAB, and he was really good. He was like a star guy and acted, so the guy can act. I would really love to see Matt do a hype video. Get him up there, man. He's good.
Yeah, shout out to Coach Matt. Yeah, I think he might be listening and smiling right now.
Yes, sir.
I was thinking like the two obvious ones. I mean, I as far as like UAB alum, football alum, it would be maybe like Roddy White. I mean, and I do see where he's starting to get a little involved in the program here and there. But I can hear a lot of Blazer fans saying Sam Hunt right now too. I mean, the country singer. I'm not a big fan of his music, but I guess he might.
I like Sam. I like 23. So yeah.
Nice. Next question comes from Scott Gardner on Facebook. I'd like to ask about the defensive line. It seemed like UAB wasn't able to generate any pressure on Georgia Southern. Is it a result of their O-line being good, or their scheme being designed to dump it quick? Or is it potentially a larger problem where we've grown accustomed to the defensive line winning matchups with several NFL caliber linemen since the return, and Reeves needs to just so I think you've hit on this, Darian. Obviously, it was, Georgia Southern scheme where, they just like to get the ball out super quickly. They have not allowed a sack through 3 games. That includes at Nebraska. They didn't allow a sack. And UAB just rushed 3 guys. So when you run a 3-man front and you're dropping 8 back, and they were still able to get some pressure with those 3 guys up front. I mean, I don't know. You're not going to get many sacks doing that. And then that was just obviously the game plan for this past week. Against Georgia Southern. So I don't really read too much into that, or I'm not really concerned. We came into the season with the defensive line being our question mark just due to the lack of starting experience. But I love what I'm seeing Fish up the middle, and I love what I'm seeing out of Tuazama and Kelly Sanders off the edge. Kyle Harrell, I hate that he was in a boot Saturday. He did not play against Georgia Southern. I hope they get him back by Rice. But I'm really not concerned. I've kind of liked what I've seen so far. Darian, what's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, that was totally the game plan. And even then, I saw Michael Fairbanks get some pressure. I saw different guys get pressure on different plays. I saw Nakia Eason in the
Yes.
backfield. Yeah, we're pretty deep up there. So don't be concerned about the Georgia Southern game. Yeah, he was able to sit back there in a lot of those plays. A, because they get the ball out. B, I credit their offensive line. They were pretty good. But C is that was our game plan to just sit back and try to get pressure with those three guys, but really make him throw in tight windows and don't give up any big plays. So, and we executed, and then we stuck to the game plan, and we saw the results, from that game plan.
Definitely. Well, Alex Hayes on Facebook, he's got a couple questions for us. So the first question, is the offense too predictable on first down? It seems like about 95% run first and then second, then pass on third, and very occasionally do a pass action. And I guess it's play action instead. Do you think they should mix it up more with the quarterback and wide receivers that we have? I think we already answered this. Yes, Alex. Yes, they definitely need to just continue to develop play calling, man. Kind of mix it up for sure. And going back to Georgia Southern, man, the run was just working so well. I mean, Georgia Southern really couldn't stop Debo at all. So I get why most of the time they just handed it off to Debo. But that being said, when you face a more challenging defense like later, I mean, you'll see a couple in Conference USA, but I can think of UTSA for sure. You're not going to be able to do that because they're going to be waiting on it. So you're definitely going to have to mix it up. Like I said earlier, get Dylan more, give him some early confidence, give him some screen passes, slants, or even just throw it to the halfback. Just get him some confidence early on. That way, we can hopefully go for the kill shot later and get a couple of deep throws.
Yeah, just to that point, and I think we've actually done that early on.
Mm-hmm.
Like, most of the time the first drives are scripted. And I remember that Liberty game, we had a couple short passes and stuff. And then if you go back to this Georgia Southern game, I remember Dexter Boykin, a couple quick hitters, first drive. We had a couple of those passes, and it seemed to work. I just think as the flow of the game as it goes, sometimes we get back into this conservative, let's hand the ball off, and I think it throws the rhythm off. And I think we're going to need more of the trust, the BYU and UTSA from last year. We're going to have to establish that trust between the play caller and the quarterback. I'm pretty sure he trusts them. But It just seemed, the perception sometimes seems like that's not there. And, as we get away from off script, it just seemed to go run heavy a lot. I know that it works, but we do seem one-dimensional at times. So I think our rhythm may be off or something like that. But we're gonna need that. We're gonna need that balance to return, and we'll live with the results of that. And I trust Dylan. I trust Jacob. I trust our receiver. So and I'm pretty sure BV does too. He probably trusts him more than anybody else. So it's great to have the running game we have, but yeah, I think we should mix it up a little bit more.
Definitely. Well, next question from Alex is another question is, how do y'all think we will match up in the AAC in our first year, and how much will joining that conference help with recruiting and media coverage? I mean, Darren, wouldn't you agree that you expect us to come in and compete right away? Because that's how I am. I mean, if we're not competing right away, that's a disappointment.
This one is tricky because first of all, I do expect us to come in and compete right away because we have guys that's redshirted. We have good recruiting class coming in. We have a lot of guys just sitting, waiting in the ranks. But we're gonna be losing a lot of talent at the same time.
Yeah,
we're gonna be losing Starlin and CD Daniels and Will Bowler. Well, I don't know if we're losing Will, but Grayson Cash, and we're gonna be losing a lot of our offensive line. This is a lot of guys that we're going to be losing, especially in that defensive backfield. We're going to lose Noah Wilder, and so I look for guys to step in. Tyler Taylor, like I look for guys to step in those spots, and they have to prove themselves.
Right.
So I think we can compete. I think we have the talent to compete. Are they ready for that moment? Is the question.
Yeah, and I guess too, a lot of it is going to be also determined on who the head coach is next year and how the coaching staff looks. Heading into the AAC.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, as far as like recruiting and media coverage, I mean, UAB is going to get a big bump by not playing games on Facebook and Stadium. You're going to be more on linear TV, on ESPNU, ESPN News. You'll still be ESPN Plus a good bit, but you'll just get more exposure. Now, as
Right.
far as media coverage, I don't know if you meant like local media or I mean, I can't answer that for you. But hey, you got the Blazer Victory podcast. We're gonna rock with you.
Exactly.
We'll cover, and Steve and Evan. I mean, you've got some guys that'll continue to cover. But I do think UAB will gain more national attention by just being able to play on those linear TV networks, as opposed to what we've been facing recently is having to play on Stadium and streamed on Facebook. Like, I don't know.
And I really think that'll help us with our branding. I was
Yes.
thinking about what to take us to the next level to get more butts in the seats. Get more consistent fans, and exposure is real. People looking on their phones. People are looking on their phones on the TV all the time. And ESPN, AAC has a way, way better deal. You've already pointed out. So, and we can just brand more, get a couple more short shirts and hats and a couple more, we bring in some more money. We're able to get some more stuff out in stores. And that's, we work on some kind of campaign, some kind of media campaign to get our image and get our brand out there more. I think that really, really help.
Definitely. All right. Well, this next question is on Facebook and actually comes from my wife, Elizabeth Duncan. I think this is directed towards me. She says, "Do you prefer traditional candy corn or auto mix?" So I'm traditional all the way. I'll eat the auto mix. But I'm more of give me a traditional bag of candy corn, a traditional bag of just the pumpkins. Give me a big old thing of peanuts and just mix it all together. Oh yeah, you're talking my language, man. Yeah. Darian, which one do you prefer? Candy or traditional or auto mix?
Hey man, I'm feeling something.
Oh man. Well, it looks like the next question is also related to candy corn. This is from Stephen Chappell on Facebook. Who hurt you that led you down the dark path of candy corn? So I'm not hurt. I'm actually encouraged because of all the disrespectful anti-candy corn people that keep popping in my mentions. Yes, I'm talking to you, Steve Irvine. I bleed candy corn. It just makes me even want to eat even more, like with all the hate. Like I did not know that there was so much candy corn hate in this world. Good grief.
I don't know what trauma, what happened in your childhood, but they are sorry. It led you down this villainous, this villainous character arc. Like John the Dark of Candy Corn Land or something. I don't know, man. We gotta let it go. We're gonna talk about it one day. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna let go of that trauma.
I look forward to bringing you on board one day. That's what I'll do. All right. Next question comes from my buddy Mike Rowe on Facebook. He says, "You guys ever listen to the opponent's podcast recap, like the Georgia Southern ones?"
Oh, all the time. That's like some, especially if we win. If we win, I kind of don't want to do it when we lose. I'm like, whatever, bro. Like, I don't want to hear you got it, but when we win, I want to go back. I want to hear the complaints. Like, it's always excuses, right? Like the officials or something. It's always something. It's never what we did, but it's what they didn't do.
Like our defensive line dominated, y'all. Remember those Liberty fans? Oh, whew.
Oh man. But yeah, I think everybody loves to do that. That's one of my favorites, and I encourage others to do it, especially when we win. It's like adding a boost to the high that you get from us winning already.
Definitely, and I listen to the previews as well. Like or at least I try to. Like whoever we're playing. So like this past week, the Georgia Southern, the GATA Talk guys, they dropped a preview, and but spoiler alert, they had Georgia Southern winning by 14 on their preview. So obviously they were wrong there. But I enjoy, like, I always just enjoy hearing the other side about what they think of our program. Like, so what do you
Yeah.
think of UAB? Now, a lot of the times, especially if it's a non-conference, like you'll hear, oh, since the return, I mean, you guys know, like every time we play on ESPN Plus or something, they always bring up, this program returned in 2017. But other than that, like I just like hearing the opposing side about what they think of the UAB football program. So this week, well, not this week, next week, we'll I'll listen to the Rice preview. The Roost, Matthew Bartlett, does a great job on there. I'll listen to his preview and their post game. So yeah, I'm like Darren. I enjoy listening to both of them, and just kind of, sometimes they'll make, excuses or blame officiating. I feel like that's the easiest thing to do, but
Yeah.
it's so entertaining.
Yeah, I do like listening to the preview as well, just to see what kind of respect they're giving us, because you got some guys that are talking reckless, but you got some guys that really know the game, and
Oh,
I
yeah.
love hearing their analysis of their, really dissecting their own team. You can tell who knows the game, who doesn't. You can tell who's talking from a fan perspective. So that's what I like.
Definitely. And my favorite, hands down, I hope I'm not rubbing anybody the wrong way, but my favorite non-UAB podcast, probably but within Conference USA, is the Alamo Dome Audible that Jared Kalmus and Adrian they do. They, like, Jared knows, like, ins and outs of football, and like I always just enjoy listening to their show. They just dropped a tough one at Texas this past week, but I always love supporting our conference mates and listening to their shows when I can. But definitely shout out to the Alamo Dome Audible UAB fans. If you are not listening, go ahead and give them, as they do a great job covering UTSA.
Right.
So next question, Cedric Buchanan on Twitter, he says, why are we not substituting fresher players? They need real game reps. I'm saying, why aren't we playing the A2 guys more and early on? It's a long season, and we need experienced players. So, I mean, that's a good question.
Well, I think that's a matter of perspective.
True. Yeah, that's what I was going to go to.
Yeah, if you look at the game, we did rotate a lot of guys, especially on defense. I saw Jackson Bratton, I saw Jalen Key, Will Bowler, Grayson Cash, Damian Miller. I saw CD Daniels. I saw Devordrick Bynum. I saw all of the D linemen. Like, we had Kyle Harrell out. I saw Nikhil Eason. I saw Tariq Howard in there. I saw Michael Fairbanks, Tuazama. Like, I can keep going on about the different guys. And then on offense, of course, you're not going to really sub the offensive line, but I still saw Brady Wilson in there. I saw Bryce Davis. I saw Malik Bryant. I saw different receivers. I guess that's the one position you can ask, like, why don't they sub more at receiver? Because I would like to see what whatchamacallit, number 2.
Fred Ferrier.
I would like to see more Fred Ferrier out there, just to see. But I still see us spreading the ball out to different guys: Ryan Davis, Mario Rudolph, Dexter Boykin, to John Palmer. Like, I think we do a fair job of rotating guys, especially on defense, where we're really, really deep. You see a lot of different players, so it's a matter of perspective. I think what Cedric may be saying is, like, he probably would like to see guys more. But you have A1s and A2s, and I think we do a good job of
I think so too, Darren. And just real quick too, like with the Georgia Southern, when they're going up tempo, like, you really can't, like, you kind of hurt yourself substituting, a lot. You run into where you having too many men on the field, you're just behind. But yeah, I thought they did a good job. I think I felt like Noah Water was kind of out there a little too long, but I mean, hey, 18 tackles career game. He was performing, so you can't really pull him then. But yeah, I agree with you, Darren. I thought they did a good job kind of mixing it up and keeping everybody fresh. But yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I like to see Lee. I would like to see Lee Witherspoon get, maybe, kind of how we did Stanley last year. I like to see him get 5-6 touches. And
AJ Gates too. Yeah.
AJ Gates, those guys prove that they can play. And I think what the fans would like to see more is for Jacob to get in there, Jacob Zeno, and really throw the ball, like, really have an opportunity to show what he can do. Other than that, I have no problems how we sub. I think they do a good job.
All right. Next question comes from Mike Eccles. Why don't they put half of the cheerleaders on the other side of the players? It would help hype up more of our fans. Having that many cheerleaders stuffed in that one spot makes no sense. Fill that huge empty void with some excitement. Darian.
Oh, I guess I don't know if they have to do it that way. It seems like it's been done that way forever. I
Yeah.
don't know. So you got the other teams cheerleaders too. So I don't know if they have to do it that way. So that may be another question for some of those guys in
Mm-hmm.
administration. And I don't know.
Right. Next question comes from my buddy Brad Cummings on Twitter. So this one's actually directed towards Darian. Darren, give us your O-line grade after 3 games. And then he also says, John, it's time to talk about your unfortunate addiction to candy corn. LOL. All right. So what's your grade on the O-line through 3 games?
My grade on the O-line is I'm pleased with them. I would love, after going back and just seeing, especially the Liberty game, I would love to see more established dominance because I believe this squad can be dominant.
Yeah.
But what I have seen is I guess I don't know if it's because of adjustments or maybe teams making us one dimensional at times. But I have seen us lose. We lost a half against Liberty. Our offensive line did. So it was kind of like even though the numbers say we dominated. If you look at the game, it was more back and forth.
Right.
We pretty much dominated against Georgia Southern, but they were able to opportunistically stop us to get us behind the chains on. So it wasn't. Again, you can't just look at numbers. Look at the game flow. We had the ball 2 times and within the 10-yard line, and we couldn't punch it in, and we did not score.
Mm-hmm.
We moved the ball, but sometimes when we got to places where we should be able to lean, especially on that offensive line, we didn't come through. Now, I don't know if that was because of the game plan and adjustments, or I don't know if it was because our guys. I did see some of our guys get whooped on those plays, and I haven't been, and of course I'm gonna be a little bit more critical because I'm an offensive lineman, and I think the reason I'm like this about this team is because we have the guys to be dominant. That's from start to finish, and I probably expect the most out of them on this team than almost any other position, probably except the defensive backfield. But these guys should be first quarter to fourth quarter, and by the fourth quarter we should have those guys not wanting to play no more because they have that type of talent. And so that's what I want to see. I want to see them take that next step. Don't just be good. Don't just be good. They're a good squad, but I can't say they're absolutely dominant now because they haven't proved that yet. Even though they have the talent and the coaches, I know they can. So I expect to see more from them.
So are you thinking maybe like a B minus after 3 games, or
I give them a straight B.
A B? Okay,
Give them a straight B, because they have put up the numbers, but I want to see more results.
Definitely. All right, next question comes from Welcome to UAB on Twitter. Welcome to UAB. Man, we still got to get a beer together sometime, man. This dude is cool. So his question is, why can't we have one formation under center for short yardage situations like quarterback sneaks? That's a good question. It's just nowadays, like, you just see everybody in the shotgun, like all the time. I mean, I know UAB can go under center because they've done it before. Victory formation. I mean, we saw them taking a knee against Alabama A&M with 5 minutes left in the game. I don't know, Darren. That's a good question. Why don't we try that more?
You know what? I don't know because I'm pretty sure Matt can attest. When I played, I played on Neil Callaway. We used to do it. That used to be one of our most successful plays.
Right.
Brian Ellis was good at finding the little holes. Yeah, sometimes it'll be straight ahead over the center. Sometimes it's over the guard. You take a step back. But our QB sneak worked a lot when I played. Sometimes we would look up and get like, oh, he kind of broke free for 8 yards. How did that happen?
Exactly. And people don't see it as much because, most people just go out of shotgun. So when it is run, you can pop it off to get, 5-6 yards.
Right. So, yeah, I don't know. That is a good question. I would like to see it. It was successful for during when I played. And I'm pretty sure Matt could, agree to that. So I don't know. That's a good question.
All right. Well, last questions. It's 3 questions from Muck on Twitter. First one, what should UAB fans hope for? Is Conference USA champions good? Do we deserve to want to be ranked? Is it just stupid to want to go undefeated? Um, I mean, I still say, Darren, I don't know if you agree. The goal of the season is still to be Conference USA champions. Anything above that is gravy. I mean, obviously, it's not stupid, that you want UAB to be ranked. We all want UAB to be ranked. Darian just got through mentioning, we're waiting on this program to take that next step, to be like an App State, to be, one a UCF or one of those premier G5 teams. And UAB can take that next step. I don't know why week 2 has just been a terrible week for this UAB football program since the return. UAB has 1-5 now, or whatever it is. They've only won one week 2 game, and that was against Akron back in 2019. So I don't know why. Maybe we need to reevaluate playing these Thursday night games. I don't know. I personally, I love the Thursday night game. To get it. I feel like you get a bigger crowd, especially if you're playing Alabama State, or I think we've got NCA&T next year, so they'll bring a good crowd. But I don't know, man. But I would say you as a UAB fan, you should definitely want UAB to be ranked, and it's not stupid to want them to go undefeated. I mean, with all the, I don't know, Darren, you take this one. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think we should, as fans, that's what we should expect. I go into every year, and I think as fans, we all need to have that competitive fire. This program, that's how you build programs, expectations.
Right.
And, you expect this out of your team, out of your players, out of your coaches. I expect that out of y'all, we've been able to rally behind this program, and we are hungry for it. We want to get out of the shadow of Alabama and Auburn. I mean, we want something special here,
Right.
and we want it at the grassroots. Yes, we can have expectations. Yes, I want to beat LSU. I want to be conference champions, and I want to be ranked. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I wanted it when I played.
Right.
And I want it now, and I expect everybody that has something to do with this program to want that, to desire that. Well, I'm not going to LSU. I never ever go into any game saying oh, this is a loss. I don't care. I don't care what our record is.
Right.
No game. We going in to win. I'm not. they can pay us $5 million. We going to take the $5 million and win the game. That's win right. The game. So my whole thing is make them beat you. Make them show that they're just better. But display that. Don't do it because I didn't do this right. I'm fumbling the ball. That's why that Liberty game. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But yeah, don't. And that's why this Georgia Southern game, we left too much opportunity on the field. And so if you look at those teams and how they took that next step, all of those little chances and all those little opportunities, they took advantage of that. They didn't fumble those chances away. Or that's what I want to see. I want to see a mentality of some people that we'll close that chapter, that we'll close that book on you, and we won't give you room to breathe. Now, if you beat us, you beat us. If you go out there and just show that you have better players than us, acceptable. I saw one Georgia Southern. It was a 4th down or a critical third down when they scored 14 or whatever. But the running back he came out the backfield and caught a pass with one hand for the first down. You remember that?
Yes, I do.
You tip your hat to that. I remember I wasn't even mad. I remember looking. I said, "Oh, good play, good play." He made a play. That's the type of stuff that I want teams to do to us in order to beat us. But the stuff that we've done to ourselves this year, I can't. It's hard. It make it hard to live with. So, yes, expect a lot from us.
Definitely. And Muck also goes on to say why, losing the Liberty game, does that just ruin our hopes? And is the season disappointing already? And no, that's definitely no. I mean, was it a frustrating loss? Sure. We've kind of beat that dead horse to death, as the saying says. It's very frustrating to turn the ball over 4 times when we thought that, or I thought we were the better team for sure. But at the end of the day, hey, tip your hat. Hugh Freeze just seems to have UAB's number like he had Nick Saban's number back, when he played him at Ole Miss.
Yeah.
But hey, yeah, this season is not a disappointment. We still have so much ahead of us. Yes, and UAB can still even be ranked. Like
Yes.
if
Yeah, most
we
definitely.
like, hey, you look at the season and you win out, you're going to be ranked. There's no doubt about that. Would it be good for Liberty to maybe win a few games to help out our loss? Sure. I mean, they almost knocked off Wake Forest if it wasn't for a failed 2-point conversion. So I think Hugh Freeze has a good team at Liberty. So I'm not gonna just say this season's a disappointment because we lost at Liberty. If anything, I'm just more frustrated about how we lost. Turned the ball over 4 times, and BV would tell you the same thing. It was just it's frustrating. But hey, still got a long season in front of us. It's good to kind of talk this out. I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. Darian and I, we've enjoyed this. We enjoy, as we said at the top of the show, thank you every single one of you that submitted a question, or for those that submitted 2 questions. We really enjoyed this. Before we were like, oh, maybe we'll get like 4 or 5 questions, and we ended up getting 20 questions. So kudos to the listeners. That shows that you guys seem to value Darian and my input, which is great. And it just feels that we have something special growing here with the Blazer Victory podcast.
Yes, this is totally like a grassroots kind of thing, started by John and with Steve, and then, being gracious enough to allow me to come on here and just being able to engage and hopefully bring the listeners closer to the team. That's the ultimate goal, is to get us really knowing the team, and like just being able to understand maybe some X's and O's, maybe some of the thinking, just being able to engage, because we don't have much media coverage of the team. We have Evan and Steve, and we got a couple of guys here and there. You will hear from on the round table and stuff. It's been way more in the past, but we still have a long way to go.
Right.
And just for us to have this intimate kind of talk about the team and the team only that we care about, that's kind of who we are here at UAB. And so we appreciate you guys so much for just tuning in and taking time out today. Sometimes we go for over an hour, and you guys seem to listen to it, and you guys seem to respond well to what we have to say. And we just hope that this thing continue to grow as we go into the AAC next year. Man, we hope this thing gets bigger and bigger, and hope it helps with fan engagement and ultimately get more people in the seats. So let's bring more UAB Blazer fans on. Let's spread the word, one fan at a time. So thanks, guys.
Definitely. I couldn't say it any better. Darren, Darian and I hope to be doing this show for years to come and just continue growing the show for years to come. But real quick business. Hey, if you want to support Blazer Victory Podcast, definitely subscribe to the show, share it with other Blazer fans, and
merch.
if you want to buy merch, definitely click the link in the podcast description to get you a T-shirt or a hoodie. That helps us. Helps us out a little bit with money. We come out of pocket each year for this podcast to pay for the podcast platform. But hey, what we would love for you to buy a shirt, but if you're listening to us each week and you're sharing us with others and helping us grow this thing, that means the world to us. And hey, we'll be back next week to get you ready for the UAB Rice game. But Darian, you can go ahead and close us out if you want to.
Yep. And next week UAB Rice game, Dylan Hopkins over 300 yards passing. I'm calling it.
Let's go. Let's go.
Calling it. Hope Dylan is listening. So on that note, Blazer Nation, let's ride.